on down to St. Francis Street. When the days got you down and there's too much pain in your feet, got a lady down there, got everything you need. Take me to the CannaBama Queen. She'll turn that frown upside down. Tell that old headache to pack up and head out of town. Move over arthritis, 'cause you ain't what I need. Take me to the CannaBama Queen. Take me down to the CannaBama Queen. Oh, good Lord, take me down to the CannaBama Queen. She's got every style of CBD. Take me to the CannaBama Queen. Take me to see her, baby. God save the Queen.
Well, I heard Mr. Young sang about her. Said Southern man don't need him around anyhow. But sweet home CannaBama's got a different sound, where cannabis knowledge is spread all over town. Jennifer Boozer's on the airwaves, you know it's true. FM Top 106.5, she's got the crew talking about hemp and CBD with a rebel yell, educating folks and doing it well. Sweet home CannaBama, where the weed grows high. Sweet home CannaBama, beneath the southern sky. Sweet home CannaBama, where the knowledge flows. Sweet home CannaBama, where the good times grow. Now Citizen Green TV saw something special, yeah. Invited Sweet home CannaBama to their sphere. Reaching vets with wellness, that's their aim. Spreading the word, easing the pain. Engine discounts calling, they recognize the fame. Sweet home CannaBama's gonna play the game. With presentations and connections, they'll take the stage. A new era's dawning, turn a new page. Sweet home CannaBama, where the weed grows high. Sweet home CannaBama, beneath the southern sky. Sweet home CannaBama, where the knowledge flows. Sweet home CannaBama, where the good times grow. From Mobile, Alabama, the message rings so clear. Cannabis education cast away the fear. With every broadcast, a seed they sow. Sweet home CannaBama, help the good times grow. Sweet home CannaBama, where the weed grows high. Sweet home CannaBama, beneath the southern sky. Sweet home CannaBama, where the knowledge flows. Sweet home CannaBama, where the good times grow. Roll on, CannaBama, roll on. Spread the word, let your freedom song be known. Sweet home CannaBama, yeah.
to St. Francis Street. When the days got you down and there's too much pain in your feet, got a lady down there, got everything you need. Take me to the CannaBama Queen. She'll turn that frown upside down. Tell that old headache to pack up and head out of town. Move over arthritis, cause you ain't what I need. Take me to the CannaBama Queen. Take me down to the CannaBama Queen. Oh, good Lord, take me down to the CannaBama Queen. She's got every style of CBD. Take me to the CannaBama Queen. Take me to see her, baby. God save the Queen.
As other countries picked up some of the slack. No other country has withdrawn from the 2015 agreement. Hi up in Jwani, Washington.
Canadian leaders expressed relief that sweeping tariffs were not applied to Canadian products on the first day of Donald Trump's presidency, and that he did not mention America's major trading partner during his inaugural speech. More at townhall.com.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
The Gulf Coast can expect increasing clouds tonight. It will be cold with temperatures in the mid-20s. Tomorrow, snow developing in the afternoon. It will be breezy and very cold with highs in the lower 30s. And the outlook for Wednesday, sunny and cold with highs in the mid-30s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 106.5.
It's time for Sweet Home CannaBama, a show that'll answer all your questions, provide accurate information, and dispel the myths of cannabis. And have your specific questions answered by emailing Jennifer@CannaBama.com or text or call 343-0106. And now, for all things cannabis in Alabama, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Jennifer Boozer, owner and founder of CannaBama in downtown Mobile. We're located at 558 St. Francis Street, just a block up from Winsel's and a block off of in downtown. You can find us there 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7, Friday and Saturday from 10 to 8, and Sunday from noon to 5. We will be open tomorrow and Wednesday unless the roads are impassable. So make sure you follow us on all of our social media pages to see if you are able to come and shop. Obviously, if you can't leave your house, you can't shop. So we're really hoping not to be shut down at all, but we're going to make those announcements on social media as they come in. Like I said, you can find us downtown at 558 St. Francis Street. Our phone number is 251-255-5155. You can find us at CannaBama.com and on all the social media pages under Sweet Home CannaBama. And now you can find Sweet Home CannaBama on Citizen Green TV, on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire Stick. And our first 4 episodes are up, and we are working on the next 6 now. CapCut being banned really threw a big old wrench in our plans. We didn't expect that. And so we're having to kind of scramble and figure out how to do that. Some people say it's back. We don't have it back yet. So if you have any inside information on how to get that 6-episode disappearing act undone, let us know, because we're hurting pretty bad over that. Today, it was a very historic day today. The 47th President, Donald Trump, was inaugurated. We've been watching that off and on. Lots of big activities, some technical difficulties like we have here a lot of times. But all in all, it's been a pretty historic day. And we hope for positive forward momentum with the new administration and federal hemp legislation, as well as full federal legalization of cannabis, hopefully. I happen to think that maybe Trump, being a businessman first, would see that it wouldn't be good to shut us all down and undo the farm bill that he actually signed in 2018. So we're hoping that this is a good sign that the hemp industry might have a little bit of help in the White House. That remains to be seen, though. On that note, I want to introduce our guest tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking to Ken Meyers. He is co-founder of the Complete Hemp Processing LLC and president of the South Dakota Industrial Hemp Association. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Thank you, Jennifer. Glad to be here.
Well, sorry. Let me stumble over my words once. When Michael first told me about you, I was excited to see all of the cool stuff that you are doing in the hemp industry. And I don't get to talk to many people like you. So with that being said, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you found yourself working with hemp.
I am Ken Meyers. I'm in South Dakota. I'm the president of the South Dakota Industrial Hemp Association and also one of the co-founders of Complete Hemp Processing. I'm part of a four-generation beekeeping family and business, and we ended up adding hemp to our beekeeping business. So we went from a legacy business to adding a startup business in hemp. And we got there because we had equipment in our beekeeping business that was good for processing cannabinoids.
Really? So when you say a beekeeping business, I mean, obviously you guys had bees, there's honey involved. What exactly did you do in the beekeeping industry?
So for many years, we were commercial beekeepers with, at one point, as many as 12,000 beehives. We did the whole migratory thing with the bees where they would move from north to south and out to California for pollination.
Wow.
About 11 years ago, we sold our commercial hives, but we also did then, and we continue now to give services to beekeepers. We clean up their material to get good beeswax out that's marketable. It's called rendering beeswax. And we pack honey. And that's what we do in the beekeeping industry.
Okay, so you said now you guys decided to expand into hemp. How did you do that?
So first of all, when the Farm Bill passed, we looked around and we said we have CO2 extraction equipment. We were using it in our beeswax business.
Right.
And we had extra capacity. So we said, wow, we've got big equipment. 400-liter vessels will be the biggest CBD oil processors in America.
Wow.
The only problem was it was completely illegal in South Dakota. South Dakota had not adopted hemp legislation.
Wow.
Well, it had just come on. So if you weren't a pilot state, you hadn't adopted. And so we decided to go ahead, knowing that, and go to our state capital and see if we could convince our legislators and our governor that we should do hemp in South Dakota. And then we could take advantage of this equipment that we have.
Right, because you're talking about CO2 extraction equipment, and that's the supercritical CO2 that is used to extract the cannabinoid content from the raw material, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm just making sure our listeners understood what that meant, because I've even been told before that people with a history of work in the HVAC industry were good candidates to work in extraction because they know lots about pressure and things like that, and the gauges, and I think it's interesting how people that have experience in other industries or the same equipment, even like you're talking about, you already had all the equipment. Most people had to go out and find that stuff.
Right. So we thought this was a great opportunity, and it was quite an experience to go and talk to our state government about what we wanted to do.
I bet. I mean, I don't know anything about South Dakota. I'm sure, you may have heard of Alabama and how conservative we are, but is it terribly conservative up there?
Yes, yeah, we're very conservative state. We still do not have recreational marijuana. We do have a medical marijuana program.
Well, that's more progressive than us. We voted for one. We just can't stop fighting over ours. Definitely not recreational. I think our Speaker of the House said that as long as he was in office, recreational would never hit the floor in Alabama for a vote. So we're not even worried about that right now. We're just trying to get our medical program out of the dumpster fire that it has landed itself in. So you said you pivoted to hemp and you started out in consumable products, right? Extraction for CBD and CBG, given that you had these CO2 extraction machines, right?
That's correct. So that's where we started. And we had a lot of success the first year in our state capitol. We have a lot of support from legislators, but we did not have the 2/3 support in the Senate body of our state capitol to overcome a governor's veto.
Okay.
So we passed the bill, and then the governor vetoed it. And so that first year, we could not proceed with our plans to do a CBD oil extraction. And so what happened was that when that year passed and we had to wait a year, the CBD boom, it came and it left.
Right. Well, at one point, I think someone said 94% of hemp grown in the United States was being grown for consumable CBD products.
Right. So, and maybe our governor was right. She said it wasn't going to be good for farmers. I know a lot of farmers that have been successful with CBD, but there were a lot that definitely. Right.
No, I think probably for every one that was a great success, there were 2 or 3 that failed. It's not for the weak. I mean, even being in retail and not having to get in and deal with the volatility of nature, just being in this industry at all is not for the weak. But I can imagine as a farmer, you know, there's so many ways that things can go wrong, and it's got to be daunting to look into going, you know, and like you said, you get into it and then, oh, well, somebody comes along and says, no, you can't do that. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, that's right. And then farmers in our area have big acres, big farms, and they ultimately were more interested in growing something that looked more like a corn or soybean plant, something that they could grow in a row and they could grow hundreds of acres of it outdoors.
And right. And then just mass produce something that, you know, I guess gets trucked out of there. I can imagine that smaller farming is more risky though, you know? I mean, I don't know. It seems like it would be because of the massive amount of resources that it takes to start a farm. And you know, a lot of the farmers are already farmers, but there are some people that are going out there and going, you know, maybe I'll start digging in the dirt. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk more with Ken Meyers about hemp farming. Stay with us. Hey, Alabama football fans. Are you headed up to T-Town this fall for the game? If you forget to come by CannaBama first, you can shop at Tuscaloosa's first hemp dispensary, Freedom CBD and Wellness on 15th Street, just a mile up from campus. They have the largest selection of products in West Alabama and are ready to hemp you out with all your tailgate needs. Follow Freedom CBD and Wellness on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Roll Tide.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more. Mullins Lobbyist Firm is Alabama's frontline lobbyist team specializing in cannabis, autism, epilepsy, and small business. We fight for you in Montgomery. For information on current and future federal and state legislation, including S 4226 Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act and S 980 Industrial Hemp Act Farm Bill 2024, visit the website mullinslobbyistfirm.com and follow us on social media. Is there a cause or issue you want to see changed or would like to get support for? Let us help you. Email al4medicalcannabisfreedom@gmail.com.
At CannaBama, we believe that CBD is for everyone. Our demographic is human. There's no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference in our chemical and electrical systems. Let no human be excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, and celebrate. Find us at CannaBama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight we're talking with Ken Meyer from the South Dakota Industrial Hemp Association. Ken, we were talking before about how you started out. Did we mention that you're a lawyer? I don't think we mentioned that. You are a lawyer and you practiced in Mississippi and then, which is odd, and then South Dakota. And we're a county prosecutor, right?
That's correct.
You were an elected county prosecutor.
That is right. I grew up in South Dakota. I went away for school and work, got married. My wife and I went to Mississippi. She went to southern Mississippi, and we settled down there for quite a while. And then we went back to my hometown where I ran to be the elected prosecutor for my county.
All right. So, and you said 12 years, it was 12 years ago when you joined the beekeeping business, and then 3 years ago when you guys expanded into hemp, and then you spent that 1 year working on CBD, and then you guys decided to pivot. Let's start there.
That's right. We decided that the CBD had come and gone for us, and it wasn't just that there were a lot of failures for farmers.
Right.
The market decided that there was a less expensive way to process hemp for cannabinoids than supercritical extraction. It just went a whole other route.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have a leg up or reason to continue with that. And we had to make a decision. Now we really like the hemp project.
Right.
We met lots of nice hemp people like you, and we wanted to see if we could stay in the industry.
Right.
We had put a lot of resources into it, and we could see that the next thing coming and the bigger thing coming was to process the hemp stock, because you can make so many different things out of the hemp stock.
Right. And you guys have a decortication facility. Tell us what that means.
That's right. Decortication is that big word that a lot of people hear it and don't understand it. So that's why we explain it. And a lot of times I just say a hemp stock processing facility.
Right.
So what it is it's a facility that separates out the different parts of the hemp stock. And mainly that's separating out the fiber or the bark on the outside of the stalk of the plant from the inside of the stalk that, when it's broken down, just looks like a bunch of wood chips.
Yeah.
And those are called hurd or shives.
Okay. And then you said you separate the fiber from the hurd.
That's right. And so, and you get them both as separated and clean as you can, and then you market each of them for their respective products.
Okay, so let's, just for illustration purposes, let's talk about a couple of examples of products you would make from the hurd.
The big product for hemp hurd right now is animal bedding.
Really?
When you use hemp hurd for your animal bedding, it's really good for chickens. You get cleaner eggs, healthier eggs. The chickens like it. The chickens are happier.
Of course.
And then the hemp hurd is an antimicrobial material. That's part of the reason it works so well.
Right.
And it's more absorbent than the other options for animal bedding. So what happens is you don't have to change the bedding as often.
Okay.
Meaning that even though it's more expensive to start out with, it's still very competitive and a good option for
Right.
what it does.
Right. It's like getting the fancy kitty litter instead of the stuff that just looks like, I don't know what it looks like, but there's a difference in the type of litter that you use and its effectiveness. And just because it's cheaper doesn't mean you're not going to change it 10 times faster.
So right now, ourselves as Complete Hemp Processing and other processors across the country sell a lot of material for that product.
Mm-hmm.
The second biggest product that we sell for is for the hempcrete builders, or some say it would be better to say hemp lime builders.
Yeah.
And for those building materials, they mix the hemp herd with lime, some minerals called pozzolan, a little bit of water,
Mm-hmm.
and they make a mix. And that's why people use the nickname of a hempcrete, because it's like mixing hempcrete.
Right.
But it's not like concrete in that it's not structural. It's
Right.
a material that's used for an insulation block. But what's cool about it is it completely replaces both the insulation and the sheetrock for your house. You don't
Right.
need any sheetrock when you have a hempcrete wall.
Right. And then your house is literally a giant HEPA filter.
Yes, it is. It creates a vapor permeable wall,
Mm-hmm.
which the way I describe it, it means it doesn't matter where you put the thermostat in the house. It's going to read the same temperature everywhere in your house, because you have an even heating and cooling, even temperature in the house.
Wow.
And you're also able to have a very nice regulated humidity in your house that's very comfortable. And you're building with a natural material to where you don't have any off-gassing or chemicals like you do in a lot of conventional building materials, which
Right.
is really important for a lot of people's health.
Right.
We'd all be healthier if we were living in hempcrete houses.
Right. Yeah. I've read that it makes the air like 30% cleaner, the breathable air in the house. I wonder, does that humidity thing you said, does that apply to subtropical Alabama? Because if there is a humidity that could defeat it, I think we've got it down here.
Yeah, it would definitely apply.
Okay. So what about fiber? What are you seeing being made with fiber?
The fiber is the number one recognized product in the United States is what Hempatexture puts out,
Mm-hmm.
and others will do likewise. It's a hemp insulation bath that is a one-to-one replacement for the fiberglass Pink Panther insulation that you see everywhere.
Yes. And
it's
go ahead.
Yeah, it's just so impressive. If you're working with this material, you don't need gloves. It's not like with fiberglass where
Right.
it's going to give you that scritchy feeling that nobody likes when they handle insulation.
Right. I think there is a company here across the bay from where we are right now, I think in Foley, Alabama, that they offer hemp insulation. And I was really surprised that there was a company here in Alabama that was offering that, because we're not known to be the first to do a whole lot, but it is being done right here in Alabama, which means it must be happening other places too, right?
I agree. Every year there is a big national hemp show called NOCO in Colorado.
We're gonna go next. We're going this year as a member of the press. Yes, we will be there.
Very good. I will introduce you to people that make the equipment.
Nice.
And sell it to do these insulation baths with the hemp. And I can tell you last year at the show that every hemp processor was drooling over the possibility of having that equipment and having a good offtake for their hemp fiber from their facilities.
I bet.
Support their facilities and give that offtake for the farmers, which is ultimately what you're providing as a processor.
Let me ask you this, and this is a totally me question right in the moment, but the people that are growing hemp for consumable products, is can that fiber and herd be used in this way as well, or is it a different species that we're growing for the fiber in the herd?
It's a completely different looking plant, not only by variety, but the way it's grown. So a plant that's grown for cannabinoid productions for consumables looks like a Christmas tree.
Right.
And it's
Yes.
got lots of branches, and the plants are planted several feet apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is you don't have a stalk where the fiber is nice and straight from the bottom to the top, because you have all the knots like
Right.
you would in a tree.
Right.
And it's not bred to produce the same kind of product.
Right. It's
that
bred to
stock
make
does.
lots of little branches that have the cone, the cola buds on the end, and it looks like a Christmas tree. I've stood in a field of them, and they definitely are narrow at the top and wide on the bottom.
That's right. So the ones that are growing for the stock, it looks just like a cornfield except hemp.
Right. It's tall,
they're
almost like
growing on
bamboo,
that.
right? It's tall, almost like
Yep.
bamboo. Yeah, because those fibers are really long, and they grow up to like 20 feet, right?
So they will grow typically in our area about 10 feet tall.
Okay.
We have had people have their hemp go as tall with certain varieties, and in certain fields up to like 15 feet tall.
Right. That's crazy. I've seen some. I've actually been in a greenhouse with plants that were like 11 feet tall, and it felt like, I felt like I was walking through a jungle. It was crazy. I took some really cool videos because they were twice as tall as me, and the leaves were big enough to cover my face.
And those leaves, yeah, they really help because the farmer can't spray anything on their fields for
Right.
for the weeds. So
Mhm.
those leaves keep the sun out.
Right.
And so the weeds don't grow. It's a canopy effect.
Right. Now, there was one other term that you used, and that was hemp fines. Fines. What does that mean?
So when you're processing hemp and you're separating the fiber in the herd, on the herd side, people for their hemp building projects and for the animal feed want the herd to be milled down to a specific size for that product, about 1/4 to 1/2 inch.
Okay.
And so since you're putting that material through a mill and you're hitting it in that mill, you're going to have a lot of hemp dust come off. And
Okay.
that collects in a bag, because then they don't want that dust in their finished product.
Okay. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk more with Ken Meyer. Stay with us.
FM Talk 1065, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
The Gulf Coast can expect increasing clouds tonight. It will be cold with temperatures in the mid-20s. Tomorrow, snow developing in the afternoon. It will be breezy and very cold with highs in the lower 30s. And the outlook for Wednesday, sunny and cold with highs in the mid-30s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 1065.
Hi, I'm Cherish Lombard, WKRG News 5. The latest winter weather update shows a shift in predicted snowfall totals in our area. Very little sleet and freezing rain are now expected, and southern counties will likely see more snow than areas to our immediate north. Up to 4 inches of snow are predicted in Mobile and Baldwin counties, with the bulk expected to move in tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock. Several cold weather shelters are now open in Mobile. Waterfront Rescue Mission for men only on North Washington Avenue. Central Presbyterian Church is open for families with children on Dolphin Street. Salvation Army is open on Dolphin Street for men only, and Ryan's Refuge is open for men and women with pets on South Craft Highway. And when we're freezing, so are our pets. Please do not leave them outside as the temperatures continue to drop. According to the American Veterinary Medical Association, it's a common belief that dogs and cats are more resistant than we are to cold weather because of their fur, but that's not true. Like us, cats and dogs are susceptible to frostbite and hypothermia and should be kept inside. For the latest winter weather updates, go to WKRG.com and watch WKRG News 5. I'm Cherish Lombard.
Native black cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native black cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product direct from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more.
Mullins Lobbyist Firm is Alabama's frontline lobbyist team specializing in cannabis, autism, epilepsy, and small business. We fight for you in Montgomery. For information on current and future federal and state legislation, including S 4226 Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act and S 980 Industrial Hemp Act Farm Bill 2024, visit the website mullinslobbyistfirm.com and follow us on social media. Is there a cause or issue you want to see changed or would like to get support for? Let us help you. Email al4medicalcannabisfreedom@gmail.com.
At CannaBama, we believe that CBD is for everyone. Our demographic is human. There's no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference in our chemical and electrical systems. Let no human be excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, and celebrate. Find us at CannaBama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Hey, Alabama football fans, are you headed up to T-Town this fall for the game? If you forget to come by CannaBama first, you can shop at Tuscaloosa's first hemp dispensary, Freedom CBD and Wellness on 15th Street, just a mile up from campus. They have the largest selection of products in West Alabama and are ready to hemp you out with all your tailgate needs. Follow Freedom CBD and Wellness on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Roll Tide.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Sweet Home CannaBama right here on FM Talk 106.5 every Monday night at 7. We're also live on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube, and you can check the show out on Citizen Green TV, on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. We're talking tonight with Ken Meyers, who is the president of the South Dakota Industrial Hemp Association. Ken, I wanted to ask you, as the president of this association, you see how legislation is created and how it affects everyone in the hemp industry in your state. How important is it for the people in the hemp industry within South Dakota or any other state to work together within a trade association?
You can't say with enough emphasis how important it is. This project of getting the hemp industry launched and getting these products out to people, making this change is much bigger than any one person, any one company, any few companies or people.
Yes.
And when you're dealing with policymakers, they're moved by that message rather than the message of one business or one person coming and saying, change this law for me. That
right.
doesn't make sense to them. So we personally had this experience. I like to tell people that the first time my brother, sister, and I went to the capital of South Dakota, we were doing the thing that our parents taught us to do, be proactive. It was
right.
illegal. We needed to get it legal. So we show up in blue jeans, and we're there one day. We talked to a few people, not much attention. The next day, we're wearing suits, and my sister, a nice dress, and we don't get noticed. And the next day, we hire lobbyists and still wear the suits, and then we go. And that was the first year, but we didn't have an association.
Right.
And
it was just you, your brother, and your sister, and they didn't care about that.
There were a few other businesses that kind of tagged on with us as they worked with our lobbyists. But it was very important to form an association to show that there was an industry, to grow that industry and that voice and be united in what we were saying.
Right.
So that's the direction we moved, was to get an association set up that could include the farmers that wanted to grow, the processors that wanted to process, the people that wanted to manufacture and sell products.
Right.
All of us to be represented with a strong voice.
How did you, let me ask you this, because this seems to be where I have failed miserably in my attempts to get the people of the hemp industry in Alabama to work together. How did you do that? How did you get people to answer the phone? How did you get people to listen to you that what was good for you was good for them and we should work together? Because I'm at a loss, honestly. And it's one of the reasons I was excited to have you on here, because I don't know what to do. How did you get people to be willing to work with you? And why wouldn't they be willing is my big question.
I think you definitely need a core group to get started, and I'll explain our core group in just a minute. And you need everybody to leave their egos at the door.
I think that's probably most of it.
But we were very fortunate in South Dakota to kind of form up what we between ourselves call the Tres Amigos, the three friends of hemp.
Right.
Derek Dolman with Horizon Hemp Seeds. He, his father, and others have done a really great job of making hemp seeds available in our region and giving farmers the opportunity to grow those hemp seeds in large fields. And then we have the seed available for our other farmers, and they can sell to other states. It means that the price of the hemp seed goes down because you don't have to import it. And then, so Derek, we had a seed salesman. How many states have that, really?
Right.
And then after that, he kind of got so far with his business, but it was a big push forward for him when both ourselves at Complete Hemp Processing and the third part of our three-legged stool, John Peterson with Dakota Hemp, came forward. And he said that he wanted to process, and he's also a fifth-generation farmer in South Dakota.
Oh, wow.
And he really, really likes the project of hemp, and he's growing now over 30 varieties of hemp on his farm.
Wow.
And John started coming and explaining to farmers in local meetings all over the state, how do you grow hemp? Why should you grow hemp? Why is it a good row crop? And now the farmers were listening to another farmer.
There you go.
That's what you need.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I think what I try to do from my end of the spectrum, which is the boots on the ground side, the farmer is the front line. The seed is where we start. And I know amongst retailers, it's a strange thing, because I think we should all have a good understanding of all the different processes. We're selling it, we're not farming it, but we should have an understanding of the basics of farming so that when our customers ask us these questions, we can answer them. We need to understand the extraction methods and methods of why you would want to use different methods of consumption, all those things. I think education is the biggest thing. But for the farmers, before there were people to educate about consumption, there had to be farmers who were taught how to grow it, because we haven't been growing this for a long time. It used to be a major crop in the United States. Then it went away when it was taxed out of existence, and now it's kind of a resurgence. And then we've seen all of the ups and downs with consumables. And now I think the shift in focus to industrial applications has been a long time coming, and it's encouraging because there is so much more that the plant can offer us. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit ago, all the products you can make. I like to say to people when I'm talking about it that everything that you can make from a tree, you can do from hemp.
I just told someone earlier, everything you can make from cotton, petroleum, or wood can be made from hemp in some way. There's so many different plastics and I've seen a beautiful conference table in hemp wood flooring, and I have clothing and hats and even shoes made out of hemp fibers, and all these really cool things. And there's so much more that we can and have done. And once we get them on a larger scale, such as building materials, environmentally friendly, sustainable building materials. Let's stop chopping down all the trees, right?
Yeah, that's right. And at the same time, we're helping the planet and lowering the carbon footprint because we can build the building materials close to where they're used.
Yep.
And I learned just last week, I don't know why it took that long, and I had another conversation today where somebody said this was right. When you cut down a tree, the carbon is released into the air. When you cut a hemp plant, the carbon stays in that stock, even though the hemp plant has been terminated and cut.
Wow.
And that's part of the strength of a hemp fiber.
Wow. You never think about things
filament.
like that the carbon is emitted as soon as you cut the tree down. Who knew that? That's a whole part of this whole carbon sequestration environmental. I don't understand most of it, but I do know that hemp is great at bioremediation. They're using it to clean up soil and all sorts of things. And whenever we start to have more and more products made from hemp, like plastics, they will biodegrade instead of filling up landfills and things like that. So there's a ton of ways that the plant can help heal us without being, put into the human body. Just the ways that we can use it to build shelter and feed and bed our animals, treat our illnesses, things like that. I mean, there's so many different ways that the plant can be used. I think it's incredible. So tell us, what is the chief purpose, though, of the Hemp Trade Association? You said basically, instead of going to legislators as an individual like me, it's almost impossible, or me and my small group of lobbyist friends, that the ones of us that will work together, we're so small, they don't want to talk to us on an individual basis. I get that. They've got thousands and thousands of constituents, tens of thousands maybe. And one person is, it's too small a case to be heard. But if we all join forces, then there's hundreds of us or thousands of us. We're in all parts of the state. We're in every county and everybody's neighborhood. Everyone's being represented. Then we go collectively. That's when they will start to listen to us. So that is sort of the chief purpose of the trade association, is to give a collective voice to the industry. And then there's lots of other ways a trade association can help. Correct? But beyond educating policy members, we talked about farmer-friendly policy and lobbying in state and federal government. And then you had some unique ways that you could expose legislators and the public to hemp farming to sort of normalize it. And that started with educating farmers. But what about a hemp field day? Tell us real quick before we go to our next break. What is a hemp field day?
Yeah, so once, sometimes twice a year, we schedule events at a large acre hemp farm, and we invite legislators, we invite the public, and you can come and touch and feel the plant, take pictures in the field, and get an explanation like is happening on the show, where you understand what are the uses of the plant.
Right.
You can see the difference between herd and fiber. You can see that you're looking at a row crop, and you can see in your mind that this is going to be just something you put in rotation in our region with corn and soybeans.
Mm-hmm. That's well, and is you said the way that the plants look, especially with industrial applications, it looks different than the consumable plants, and that's something that you can also demonstrate to people when they go. I've been to a farm and sat on 65 acres where, as far as I could see, those Christmas tree looking plants, and they were literally harvesting them while we were there. So they were full size, they were huge, they had big old, over an ounce of peace colas. It was really cool. I'm sure that those plants look very different from what you're describing from a fiber grow or herd grow, and being able to visibly see the difference has to be a really cool experience, especially with legislators. When we come back from the break, we're going to finish talking about the importance of hemp trade associations with Ken Meyer. Stay with us.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to to learn more.
Hey, Alabama football fans. Are you headed up to T-Town this fall for the game? If you forget to come by CannaBama first, you can shop at Tuscaloosa's first hemp dispensary, Freedom CBD and Wellness on 15th Street, just a mile up from campus. They have the largest selection of products in West Alabama and are ready to hemp you out with all your tailgate needs. Follow Freedom CBD and Wellness on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Roll Tide.
Mullins Lobbyist Firm is Alabama's frontline lobbyist team specializing in cannabis, autism, epilepsy, and small business. We fight for you in Montgomery. For information on current and future federal and state legislation, including S 4226 Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act and S 980 Industrial Hemp Act Farm Bill 2024, visit the website mullinslobbyistfirm.com and follow us on social media. Is there a cause or issue you want to see changed or would like to get support for? Let us help you. Email al4medicalcannabisfreedom@gmail.com.
At CannaBama, we believe that CBD is for everyone. Our demographic is human. There's no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference in our chemical and electrical systems. Let no human be excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, and celebrate. Find us at CannaBama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sweet Home CannaBama. Tonight, we're talking with Ken Meyers from the South Dakota Industrial Hemp Association. Ken, before the break, we were talking about hemp field days. You were talking about how once or twice a year, the trade association invites legislators and the public out to see the plants growing, to see what's going on within these grows. Do they get to tour like the processing and things like that as well?
Yes, they do. We also bring them to see our processing facility in Winfred, South Dakota. And we have an open invitation for people to come at any time of the year so that they can understand what we're doing there. Our next tour is actually scheduled for next week,
Really?
January 29th.
Okay.
A week from this Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. So who's coming to that? Who's going to be doing that tour?
That's going to be kind of exciting and interesting, a little different.
Okay.
We were approached by a group called Bridges in Ukraine about bringing some interested farmers from Ukraine to South Dakota to study what we're doing in
Really?
the hemp industry.
Wow.
And so here in a couple days, they'll be getting on a train and going to Poland and then flying to little old South Dakota to learn about the hemp industry. And they will be coming to tour our facility the day after we take them to meet all our legislators and peers. So we kind of get a 2-for-1.
Wow, I'm a little jealous of this tour. I kind of wish I got invited. That's really cool.
I'm found out, but you have an invitation now.
Okay, well, let me book another flight. I just got off a flight. I would love to, man, if I had enough of notice. That is so cool, though. But you take them and tour. I've toured processing facilities, and you got to go in and wear a white coat and put on the goggles, and everything's clean. But there's machines and there's stuff, and it's like it's very overwhelming for somebody like me who was a music major. So I was overwhelmed, but I've been able to see some of these processing facilities, and no two are alike. It's wildly different. But I think being able to see again, just that the details of what goes down. I mean, I guess people, I don't know, because we're in the cannabis space. I don't know what people think, but it's just as ordinary as a peanut factory or, a dairy processing facility or what. It's just machines and concrete and people, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Right. And we're just trying to make products and provide things, building materials. We're trying to create sustainable, environmentally friendly building products and medicine for people, and I think that people just don't realize how normal and boring it all is because it's the mystical plant. What about hempcrete workshops? That is something I'm very interested in.
So we had a really fun hempcrete workshop a little over a year ago. Well, it's been a year and a half. The time really passes by. For the open house of our processing facility, where we had Ray Catterley, who was then the president of the U.S. Hemp Building Association.
He's been on the show before. I love Ray.
Yeah, Ray is a lot of fun, and he does a great hempcrete workshop. And he said, well, what do you want to do, Ken? I said, well, I don't want to just do a demonstration wall that doesn't have any purpose.
Right.
So I shouldn't say it has no purpose. It educates people, but what can we do that has a function after the hempcrete workshop and after everybody leaves?
Right.
And we had a very noisy piece of equipment outside our building, which is our air filter cleaning, our dust control equipment. It has a big noisy fan, and we're in a somewhat rural area, but we do have neighbors. So we said, we know that a hempcrete wall will reduce noise. It deadens noise.
Yes.
Some places they make sound studios out of hempcrete in some places.
Yep.
Maybe that'll be in the future for the
Hey,
show.
I would love to have a hempcrete radio studio to broadcast out of. That'd be pretty stinking cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, under Ray's direction, these people paid to come and do the workshop a certain amount, and we subsidized it, and they built this wall up around this piece of equipment. It works beautifully. There's a big decibel difference between
I bet.
the side where the equipment is and the other side. So happy neighbors, and now everybody that comes to tour the facility can take a picture next to a hempcrete wall.
Well, right. I was going to say there's lots of things you can do with that. You could make that like your selfie wall for the tours. That's really neat. Yeah, I mean, oh man, I would love to have a hempcrete wall in my shop just to show people this isn't, it isn't always what you think it is. There's so much more to this, and I would love to at least, be cool to have just a chunk of hempcrete for people to touch, make it real. We try to do our hats and stuff with hemp fiber whenever we can, when we can find it. So I definitely think that exposing more people to the normality of the use of the plant is valuable. Do you guys do anything with universities?
Do you
plan to?
Yeah, we definitely plan to do more. One of the things that was exciting this last week for the first time, we worked with an agricultural museum at one of our public universities. They did a whole program, exhibit at their museum on hemp, and they talked about the history of hemp, how it was legal, why did it become illegal, and that was about hemp in the past. And they're having us back on February 6th to talk about where is the future of hemp. What are we going to do next?
Awesome. Yes, the history is so interesting, and there's so many things that people don't realize have happened, and then definitely talking in the future. I actually got an opportunity to help with a law and policy class at one of our universities here. They were doing all of their senior projects on different aspects of the hemp industry in law and policy, and they invited me to come in and give my experience and talk about how we legalized in Alabama and federal legalization and all that good stuff. And I was able to contribute to that. So I think that more and more universities are not only talking about cannabis as medicine, but all aspects of it. And I found it interesting that in Alabama, a university professor would have someone like me in as a guest.
Yeah, I bet it was very rewarding for you and for the students.
And the students they were awesome. They were like 21-year-olds, and they were so smart, and they had questions I wasn't even ready for, but I think I gave them a good run for their money, and we had a good time. And of course, there were lots of jokes and puns, but we had a really interesting conversation about law and policy. And they of course were like, oh, well, this makes sense and that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, but that's not actually how it happens. Here's the reality. And it was an interesting way to bridge, the experience that I have with their, book smarts and the law and policy rules and regulations and how things are supposed to work, and then tell them how it actually works. So I think that more of us getting into universities is a good thing. So where can we find more information about the South Carolina, Lord have mercy. South Dakota. I am so sorry. The South Dakota Industrial Hemp Association, and also your company, Complete Hemp Processing LLC. Where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find us at CompleteHempProcessing.com. So just really easy, the name of the company, CompleteHempProcessing.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always accessible to somebody calling me or emailing me, reaching out to me, I believe, in talking to everybody about this project.
Right.
And you can find our association at sd-hemp.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ken, for joining me for this very important conversation. I think we don't talk about the industrial applications enough, and I would love for you to come back and get deeper into the herd and the fiber industry, because that is something I know that that herd and fiber are being done right here in Alabama. So we would definitely want to hear about that. You can join us here every Monday night at 7 o'clock for Sweet Home CannaBama, right here on FM Talk 106.5. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Stay safe and warm this week, y'all. God bless you. Good night.